Hello, this is Mac McMillan with Gravity Sketch, here to share a workflow with you. This workflow lets you leverage your complete Gravity Sketch shoe model in Illustrator, utilizing screenshots in Gravity Sketch and image trace in Illustrator. It's a workflow that'll save you time and ensure idea accuracy. Now, what I've shown you here is a model I've worked on that has some materialization applied to it, some logos, some stitching. And the first thing I'm going to do is turn off some of those layers, the logo layer, the stitch layer. Those I'm going to reapply in Illustrator. Now that those are off, the next thing I'm going to do is change the color of each item on this shoe that I eventually want to be a different material or color. I need to change it to a separate color that has high contrast between all the others. And what I also needed to do is be a flat shader applied to it. And what that's going to do is allow Illustrator to know exactly how and where to apply the vector art. You see me, I'm just grabbing each component using my color wheel and the eyedropper to choose a new color. It doesn't really matter what the colors are. They just need to have contrast between the different components to delineate where those items are. So yeah, if you foresee a component having a different color or a different material, in your tech pack or down the line for a colorway, then you need to give it its own unique color. Now for these webbings in the throat area, I'm going to utilize the selection tool, select them all, and then I'm going to grab and change the color because I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep all those the same color no matter what colorway I work on. Now again, it's important, the shader needs to be set to flat. Just checking, make sure I didn't leave anything out. And then lastly, you want to kind of go back and make sure everything is kind of where it should be. I saw a couple areas where an underlay kind of peeked out, and because Illustrator will find those and create shapes for those areas. Here's a little spot in the vamp. All right. Now you could take pictures, but that won't be so accurate. We really want true orthographic views, so I'm going to hit the blue button and then click on the orthographic tool. Now, basically all the views will pop up on your non-drawing controller, and you're going to grab each view you want. I believe I was tethered when I did this, and I was able to grab each one as I needed them, bring them out into space, let go, and they'll persist. Each one has a little camera icon, and we'll use that later. But I believe if you're untethered, you'll just be able to do one view at a time. You'll have to take your screenshot and then delete it and then bring a new view in. The orthographic visualization on your non-drawing controller will start updating. All right, so now the next thing I need to do is change my shader to clay, and that gives me a good range of highs and lows. And now I'm going to hit the blue button and go into settings and the environment and use my flashlight to make sure my shadowing is correct. I'm going to adjust it. The views update in real time based on how the flashlight is interacting with the object, which is super handy. I had set the color to just pure white. I'm gonna drop it down to be a slight gray. I just find I get better contrast with that. So once I like how those look, I'm gonna again hit the take screenshot icon that's on each one of those images. You might have to do these individually if you're not tethered. You can also just update your flashlight angle to get a better visualization for each view that you might want. You might find like the medial side is not shaded well. Then the next thing I'm gonna do, go to landing pad, we're gonna log in. All those screenshots saved to my personal files, I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna click the first one and shift and click the last one and hit the download icon. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is fire up Illustrator. All right, I'm gonna create a new file. I usually have a multi-page tech pack. I just did 2 pages here. Again, I'm not gonna make a whole tech pack for you. I'm just gonna show you the start of this process. So I'm gonna go ahead and place my images. I can do all 6. I'm gonna do 3 views for that first page, a lateral, a heel, and a toe down. And then it's important to bring in both the colored images and the white images, and you'll see why in a minute. So I've placed all those images. Now it's pretty much a matter of scaling and positioning. Essentially what the white images are going to allow for when you put them on multiply, they're going to provide those highs and lows that will allow you to read where 2 laces that might cross over, for example, you're not going to know which one's on top or the bottom if it's a flat shader and color in the same color applied to them. So that's where this shading layer is going to come in to be very useful. So here I'm just lining up my views. I'm gonna make sure my color's stacked right below the white image or slightly gray image. And now I am just checking with some rulers here to make sure everything's lined up great. And now I know all my views are reconciled precisely and accurately. Now I'm going to create some new layers. I'm going to put all that shading on the same layer, and then I'm going to basically have a layer for each view. Okay, so this is kind of the most crucial step. I'm going to select one image. This is going to be the toe down. I'm going to go to Object. I'm going to go to Image Trace, Make. Hit OK. Now the default preset setting is not going to work for us. So we're going to go up here to the left and select Low Fidelity Photo. And that does just a broad range enough of colors to cover all our different components without doing different colors for maybe like the same component. While that's still selected, go back to Image Trace and expand it. And I'm going to also ungroup it right at the same time. And then it also traces the white background. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to select and delete that. Now I'm going to repeat the same process for each view. All right, so right here I decided I wanted to have actually a left view, so I went ahead and selected everything and flipped it horizontally. Now I'm going to rename these layers, keep things organized, toe down, heel, and lateral view, lateral left. And then I'm also going to create a logo layer and a stitch layer. And I'm doing those here because I have more control over the types of logo graphics I use and what I can do them in Illustrator, as well as stitching. I have a lot of control over how that looks in Illustrator. Now I just remembered I had to flip my shading as well. And they don't have to be perfect, the shading layer, in respect to the other layers. Now that's where the magic happens. Put those images on multiply, and now you can read the views. And here I'm just showing you how it created a separate shape for each color, and then I can also select one of those shapes and select all with the same color if I wanted to do quick color changes. I'm going to add a little bit of stitching just to show you. You can just be a lot more precise and accurate here for your stitching. I need one more logo in the toe to match my original concept. Again, this time bringing in some vector art. And lastly, I'm going to create a little legend for material callouts. You could use them for colorways, construction, drawings. And now that you have all the vector and line work, you could also use this to do 2D renders if you want. Yeah, again, super interested to hear what you think. You know, this whole process probably took 20-25 minutes tops, and that's for these 3 views. I think adding a whole nother page of views would add a very incremental amount of time to the whole process. But yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate it.